All right, let's dive right in. Because what we're looking at today is this totally fascinating linguistic puzzle. It's a type of communication that you and I get instantly, but it absolutely stumps some of the most advanced AI on the planet. Take a look at this one. Don't give up on your dreams so easily. Keep sleeping. You immediately get the joke, right? It takes a classic motivational saying and just gives it this hilarious literal twist. But that right there, that's the central mystery we're unpacking today. Why is something so simple for our brains to process a massive, massive challenge for a large language model? What is it about this kind of language that's like a lock that AI just doesn't have the key for? And look, this isn't just about whether an AI has a sense of humor or not. It goes so much deeper. We're talking about a very specific, layered form of human communication that reveals a pretty fundamental gap in artificial intelligence. Think about it like this. AI models are incredible mimics. I mean, they've crunched trillions of words, they're masters of statistical patterns, and that lets them sound unbelievably human. But the big question that researchers are asking is, does all that statistical fluency actually equal true cognitive comprehension? Do they get it, or are they just really, really good at predicting the next word in a sentence?
So this exact problem led researchers to come up with a fantastic term for this kind of language. They call it Drivelology, which, is a mix of drivel, meaning nonsense, and ology, the study of. Let's break down what it actually is.
At its heart, Drivelology is nonsense with depth. These are sentences that look and sound perfectly normal on the surface, but underneath, they're hiding a paradox or a subversive joke or some kind of hidden meaning that you have to figure out. It's not just random gibberish. This is carefully crafted nonsense that has a real purpose. And this table here really draws a clear line in the sand. Drivelology isn't the same as simple nonsense, like that famous example, colorless green ideas sleep furiously, which has zero hidden meaning. And it's way more complex than basic sarcasm, which is often just, flipping the meaning. Drivelology has these intentional hidden layers. So, to really get a grip on this, the researchers broke Drivelology down into 5 key categories. Let's do a quick run-through of them with some really great examples. First up is misdirection. A sentence starts by building an expectation, and then, boom, it completely pulls the rug out from under you with an absurd or literal twist. Next, we've got paradox. This is a statement that seems to totally contradict itself, but when you think about it for a second, it reveals a clever or kind of funny truth. Then there's switchbait. The reply completely hijacks the context to the first phrase, and it often relies on shared cultural knowledge. So here, a simple practical request gets reframed as something sinister and, frankly, hilarious. Fourth is inversion. This one takes a familiar social script, like someone being humble or complaining, and just flips it into this arrogant, satirical boast. And finally, wordplay. This is probably the broadest category, using all that great linguistic creativity like puns or double meanings to get a laugh. So now that we know what Drivelology is, how in the world did researchers actually test an AI's ability to understand it? Well, they needed a very specialized tool for the job. They built a dataset they called DRIVELHUB. And this wasn't just a few jokes they scraped from the internet. We're talking about over 1,200 carefully selected examples in 6 different languages, including English, Mandarin, and Spanish. And every single example was double-checked by expert annotators to make sure it was a real case of Drivelology. And they designed this 4-part gauntlet for the AIs. First, detection. A simple yes or no, is this Drivelology? Second, tagging. Which of those 5 types we just covered is it? Third, narrative writing. Can the AI actually write out a coherent explanation of the hidden joke? And fourth, the one we're going to focus on, narrative selection. Okay, let's look at a real example of that last task. The AI gets the text, and then it's given several choices for the hidden meaning. Now, the right answer here is the one that captures the nuance, that flawed but funny logic of trying to solve 100% of your problems by just buying 2 books. This really tests if the AI can get the point of the joke, not just the words on the surface. But here is the truly brilliant part. The researchers made a hard version of the test. All they did was replace one of the wrong answers with none of the above. Now, that sounds simple, but it's absolutely crucial. It stops the AI from just guessing the least wrong option. It forces it to be confident that one of the choices is actually correct, which demands much, much deeper reasoning. So, the stage is set. We've got this meticulously designed data set,
a series of really tough tasks, and the world's best AI models are ready to be tested. So, how did they do? And this chart just illustrates the core finding perfectly. On the easy multiple choice task, the best models did okay. They scored a respectable 86%. But just look what happens on the hard task, the one with the none of the above option. The performance absolutely falls off a cliff, all the way down to just 15%.
Let that number sink in. 15.5%. That was the accuracy of the absolute top performing model on the hardest task. That is a staggering drop. It shows that as soon as the models can't rely on a process of elimination, as soon as they're forced to truly comprehend the meaning, their performance just collapses. They're basically just guessing. So the overall takeaway from the research was crystal clear. The AI models constantly got the deep, purposeful nonsense of Drivel-ology mixed up with just shallow, meaningless text. They completely missed the hidden meaning, the humor. They missed the entire point of what was being said. So, what does this all mean for the big picture? I mean, this study isn't about dunking on AI. It's about precisely measuring the gap between sounding human and actually understanding like a human. And that brings us right back to this crucial difference between statistical fluency and cognitive comprehension. The AI has fluency down. It can generate beautiful, perfect sentences. But this study shows it really lacks comprehension, that ability to get context and intent and all the layered meanings that we navigate effortlessly every single day. And you might be wondering, okay, so AI can't get a joke. Big deal. But it is a big deal because closing this gap is critical. If we want to build truly socially intelligent systems, like better virtual assistants, we need AI to understand our nuance. To make the creative tools we use even better, AI needs to get things like satire. And for AI safety, it is absolutely vital that these models can detect ambiguous or subversive content. So this research really leaves us with a provocative final thought. Our nonsense, our jokes, our paradoxes, our wordplay, it's a deeply human and really complex part of how we make sense of the world. Which leads to the question, if AI can't understand our nonsense, can it ever truly understand our sense?